as we culminate the activities of the course, we want to, at this time, just welcome the presence of the Lord. Father,
Nothing
thank
is
you
good.
for
I see
another
something
day.
black,
We
a dark
thank you
screen.
for being with us throughout this course. We thank you for the many blessings you have given unto us. And as we gather in this forum, we ask that you continue to be with us. Open our minds so we can think clearly, positively, and so we are able to retain information shared by all. We ask, Lord, that you will bless each participant individually and help us, Lord, in whatever we learn to be able to share with us so we can extend the knowledge and skill to our community. We ask that you will lead and direct the proceedings for this day and ask that you will take control as we put everything in your divine hands in the name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth. Amen. Okay, so hoping that everybody at this time is up and bouncing and ready to actually proceed into this session. We hope that the others will find the opportunity to join us as we continue and complete this course, right? So today we'll be actually sharing some videos with you that has to do with sandwich making, and hope that you will find them stimulating and interesting, that you'll be able to try them yourselves and also share. We will be sharing some recipes in the various WhatsApp groups as well, so you will have something to work from. All right? So let's go.
Mobilizing the youth of today, educating them in a better way, training so they won't go astray. Hear what we say, yeah. Give your head to clearer thinking, loyal heart, got to be persevering to the larger service. Make your hands willing.
Thank you for joining me in this sandwich making training series at the Jamaica Porridge Club. I am Alicia Fulton, National Home Economics Coordinator. Today, we're going to be doing production of open-faced sandwiches. Now, already we have done some prep work. We have put together the utensils and ingredients that we need to make the sandwiches. And we are going to be preparing our filling, our bread, and then we are going to apply those to make our open-faced sandwiches. So if you follow us to the end, you will see our recipes, which you can utilize for your own production. We're going to start. So we have here some creamed cheese. We started with cheddar cheese, which we pushed through a strainer, and to this we added margarine. So we are now going to add some mayonnaise, in some mayonnaise. So we've added mayonnaise, and we're going to add some pepper to taste. Now you can add white pepper, or as I'm doing here, I'm just adding a little hot pepper sauce. Now we're going to cream using a wooden spoon. Nice and creamy. All the ingredients properly combined, and then an even texture is achieved. About it. Now we're going to be making two different types of open-faced sandwiches, so we need to separate the mixture. Now we're putting a portion in one container, and to add interest, we are promoting preserves that you make at home or at school, and we're adding sorrel chutney to one, so we are going to mix. This is the chutney added to the cream cheese, and we had some already mixed out, to which we have also added some red food coloring, just to make it more interesting, and that is it. Now to the other cream cheese, we would have added breadfruit spread, which is made from boiled breadfruit. You can see the recipe at the end. And we added the breadfruit cream cheese and added a little currant to enhance the yellow. So we have cream cheese with the chutney and with the breadfruit spread. Okay? So we have prepared the spread. Put those aside for a minute. And we're going to be preparing the bread. Now the bread, we have both whole wheat and white bread. So the white bread here, sliced white bread, we are going to be rolling. So we have a rolling pin, and we are going to roll to make it thinner. So we roll to flatten, and then from this we're going to cut the shapes that we want. So we want one that looks like a petal, one that looks like a star. Okay, so we place on the bread, and there we go, star. And now we mold the petal shape. Save your bread for your bread pudding. Don't throw them away. And these are the basic shapes we're going to be using. What we want for this shape is a mini cupcake pan. A mini cupcake pan. So we're going to place in, slightly push in, and then you can use the corners of a spoon to gently guide it on the inside. There. And then we'd, depending on how many you want, then we put this in the refrigerator to set. Just for a couple of minutes for it to set. So when your star is set, it looks like this. Now what I did was place the cream cheese with the chutney inside in a piping bag with a star tip. So your cream cheese with chutney, sorrel chutney, is placed in a piping bag with a nozzle or a tip that you prefer. Now, what we're going to be doing is first getting some, this is shredded carrot, and we're going to be placing a little of the shredded carrot inside. The base here, and then you can put any desired vegetable, and on top of that we're going to pipe there. So now, to make our open face sandwich look a little more interesting, we're going to add some garnish. And to this, we're going to be using red cabbage, just a piece of red cabbage to put on top. And in promoting food diversification, I'm adding what is called forest sorrel or wood sorrel there on top, that green. Like that. Or petal, we're going to just add a little margarine, just a little to the base, and then we place this on top. And so this would be one of our open face sandwiches. Sorry about that, guys, but someone hearing a double play in the background. Is anyone else experiencing that?
No, it's all clear on my
No,
end.
miss, it's all clear.
Okay, all right. All right, so we're going to continue now. So for the next open face sandwich, we're going to be using holy bread and we're going to be, we're not going to be rolling this one, but use a cookie cutter round and let me go back a little. All right. So for the next open face sandwich, we're going to be using holy bread and we're not going to be rolling this one, but use a cookie cutter round and cut some rounds from it. Maybe a couple more. Right? So you have your round or circular cuts. Again, we don't waste the bread. Ensure that they are kept sealed so the moisture is kept in. So for these, take one and we're going to use now our cream cheese with breadfruit spread. Okay, cream cheese with breadfruit spread. So having made our cutout, we're just going to take a small portion. Now normally you'll have a spread on top, but because the cheese already has that amount of fat to it, we don't want to have too much fat in the sandwich, so we haven't added any spread on these. Right, so we have evenly applied spread, and what we'll do is look to garnish. Now we're going to be garnishing with a couple of things. Okay, so we're going to make some tomato rounds, And all you need to do is get a tomato, remove this, cut in half, remove the seed, get something circular, and then make some rounds from it. Right? You get your rounds like that. So we have our bread with filling on top. We are now going to place a round on. Now to make the cucumber. And then we just cut away a portion of it. And then we place that beside it. Then we're going to place parsley on top. These are some carrot triangles. Slice the carrot, use a serrated cutter to make the shape. And then we add that there. We now have our red cabbage and we place that on. And last, we add just a bit of yellow for contrast. So you end up with this. Very colorful, interesting, and nice. So we place that on our platter. So these are the finished products, or cheesy, or pretty cheesy open-faced sandwiches. And they're very beautiful, delicious, nutritious. And of course, follow our series and you'll see how we can also have other ideas for garnishes and presentation. Thank you, and remember to follow us. Okay, so that was our presentation on open-faced sandwiches. Are there any comments, questions?
Morning, Miss.
Is it so
Okay, with the petala, the star and the petala, you have to put it in the oven in order for it to set.
Which one was for the star? No.
The star
No,
and
you
the
can
petal.
put it in the refrigerator.
Okay.
Refrigerator.
And, you use your own homemade bread to do that?
Of course you can.
Will it come out that way, that firmness?
The bread?
Yes. Like a cassava bread, or
It depends on how you actually make your product and the particular texture that will come out. What you would end up doing in terms of the actual firmness, what you can do once you cut out, you can layer with your spread, especially if it is that you're using margarine, because our butter, that helps the shape, because it hardens when it gets cold. So you force that into the pan, put it in the refrigerator, and once the margarine or butter starts to set to harden, then it helps to keep the shape also of the cup. Because this is actually using bread. You could also try something else, as if you're going to probably say do a staple you're using, say, breadfruit or so, then you could roast the breadfruit and then you actually cut out. You may not get a star, but you would get a cup, force it into shape, and then have it set to keep the shape.
I remember somebody did something similar years ago, but it was I think it's from the Jamaican, this cookery book that Matt Donald wrote from the Jamaica some cookery book, but she stuffed the bread, she rolled the bread, stuffed the bread into the what do they call it? No, the cupcake tin, and I don't know what name she call it, and she put ackee and saltfish in it. So it is that techniques you got it from?
So that's what, the cups?
Yes, the cups. I'm wondering if you get that part of it from that book.
Well, it's similar to a cup. So it's just that, remember, in the concept of open face, the actual filling is exposed. So it is using the same sort of technique. What you have as the filling will again determine, remember we said we'd give it the actual name. So if you want to call it ackee sandwiches, or if you're using ackee as a filling, or if it is using cheese, or if it is that you're going to use peas, depending on what to be putting in as a filling, actually determine the name. But they are in a sense what you would call base cups, because they actually have that cup shape.
Okay, because she never cut off anything. She just roll it. It is in the book, and it just roll it, stuff it into the cupcake tin, and then she put the filling into it and let it bake for a while, then garnish it, and it was served. I think that is the method in the book.
Okay. All right, thank you.
It's a Jamaican book with a lady. She has a breadfruit and some more fruits, and it is a Jamaican cookery book. I see it in.
Okay, well, good. Someone else.
Another thing I want to ask, Sabrina, it slipped me. All right, when it comes back, it slipped me. So talk to somebody.
There is someone else asking a question.
Yes, I just remember that. Will you show last Friday presentation on a video to us, that because I didn't get to watch a full length because I had a visitor.
It was posted in the groups.
It was
posted in the groups. If it wasn't in your group, I'll double check with the secretary or the parish manager and have it posted.
Thank you very much.
You're most welcome.
Where do we get the piping bags to buy?
Most of the pastry supply or cake supply stores would have them. So there is Chang's in Halfway Tree, Clock Tower Plaza. There is also there's a supermarket also in Halfway Tree that sells them. Once I remember the name, Brooklyn Supermarket sells them as well. And any other suppliers of cake or other related supplies will sell them.
All right, thank you.
But Miss,
if we don't coming from abroad, they can also pick them up for you too.
Or Miss, if we don't have any piping bag, I guess we can't. Okay, could the plastic bag be used as well?
If you can also, I would try to get the thicker bags or double the poly bags and use those as well. Turn it on and make fashion.
Okay, ma'am.
Right.
But what about the nozzles, the different nozzles that you use?
the nozzles you'd have to get those from the same supply stores. If
Right.
not, you can also be creative in like the tip of the bag. You can use scissors to cut like a V or so to get a design out of it and be creative with what you have. So instead of cutting it across, you can try cutting a V into it to give a different design and see how that works. All
Okay, thank
right.
you.
Any other questions on this one? All right, so we are gonna move to another. Let me get that one. So let me see if I can share that one now. There we go. This looks like the same one.
A minute. I just take up the book from out of my cupboard. It's The Real Taste of Jamaica by Enid McDonaldson. And it's the first recipe in the book. They have with the curry ackee in bread cups. That is what you called it. And but she said that you have to make the bread a day old before you roll it.
I'm not hearing anything.
Are you hearing, guys?
Yes, I'm finally hearing you.
All right. The ribbon, the ribbon sandwich, are you able to see the ribbon here?
No, we are actually seeing the last presentation of the open phase one with a petal and a
Okay.
platter, and it is station.
All right, then. Great.
Let us get together for each.
Now today we're going to be looking at closed faced sandwiches, and specifically we're going to be doing rainbow sandwich and a multi-decker sandwich. So we're going to start with the rainbow sandwich, and we also will provide the recipes at the end of the series, so please follow us to the end. As we did previously with our open-faced sandwiches, we did a cream cheese, and we are using bread. Here we have our creamed cheese, to which we've added breadfruits spread. Now we're going to add a bit of interest to this by adding some food coloring. Here we have green food coloring. Use a toothpick to apply. Because it is gel, we don't want to add too much, so we add a little at a time. So we continue mixing until all the color is evenly distributed. Cover this. And we already have some red and plain yellow. So we're going to prepare the bread of both white and brown bread that we'll be using. For this, a star cookie cutter rather, and we're going to make some molds from this. One. Cut out here. So these. Save your bread pieces and use them to make bread pudding at a later date. So we're going to apply the cheese filling to our pieces of bread. So we have your white, then we're gonna go brown. Remember, we did say that because there is fat already in the margarine, the margarine is already in the cheese, we don't want any more, so we're not adding any spread on this. So we go green, we're gonna go red on top, and then we're gonna go white, and then we're going to go yellow. Oops. Then we go brown on top. So you end up with multiple layers, so you can see the coloration going through right there. Now we're going to skewer this. So just going to run a toothpick all the way through like that. Now previously I showed you how to make the tomato rounds, so we're going to just put a tomato round on the end like that. So this is the finished product of the rainbow sandwiches. Notice the variation in colors, synonymous with the name rainbow. So you have the different colors, and because the filling is covered by the bread, it is also a closed face sandwich. We use the tomato, and this is cucumber. So similarly how you made the tomato rounds by just shaping the skin with a round cutter, you do the same for the cucumber. Shape the skin with a round cutter, and there you have it. Okay. So there we the ribbon sandwiches. And of course, they are colorful. Again, you don't necessarily use cheese. You can use their cream peas and thereby making it even more interesting, right? Use what is available to you so you can economize as well. Are there any questions?
All right, I make mayonnaise from cashew with a little lemon. That could be used.
You used cashew, you said?
Yeah, cashew. Blend the cashew with the lemon and make
And
mayonnaise.
once you're gonna get that texture that can work, there's no problem.
All right. I'm just going to open my camera a little bit to. Are you seeing me? I open
Yes,
my
I
camera.
am.
I'm not seeing myself. This, you're seeing what I'm holding up in my hand?
Cookie cutter, star cookie cutter.
Right. It's the same thing as what you just showed me with the metal tin.
It is quite similar. Most of them are you'll get different brands. Some of them are plastic or metal. So
Will it cut it out just like how your metal tin cut it out?
again, I didn't hear you quite clearly.
I'm wondering if you will cut it out just like how your metal one.
You just probably need to apply a little pressure and you'll get it out just the same. Were you hearing me, Miss R? No?
Opportunity to say thank you for being a part of the reading.
Are there any other questions, guys?
Use of it because it's a life-changing program, and of course, share the information with your friends and invite others to sign up for future programs. Thank you very much, and I turn you back now over to your host for the day. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Ms. Ma. Thank you very much, Ms. Ma.
Any other questions or comments? We have one more to go, so I just wanted everyone to be clear.
Another thing, that round cutter, I use one of those small corks for the chubby drink, and I cut out the tomato. I cut out the tomato using the cork yesterday. I was trying it because I said that
Sure, that can work. That definitely can work. Or you can look around the house to see what is available that you can also use.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes even for the small rounds, they might find a drink glass that is small enough that will give you that size that you want. Fine.
Right.
Remember, some of these sandwiches are for different occasions. So you'll notice that the open face sandwiches were a little fancy. So those will be more appropriate for your cocktail parties or even if you're having a wedding reception or something like that. That kind of look would complement that occasion, right? Ribbon sandwiches are nice for kids' parties, kids' lunch, because they are nice and colorful and attractive, and therefore those will be appropriate for them. So you also have to be mindful of the occasion. So you can use appropriate sandwich.
Right.
All right. Any other comments or concerns?
Morning, Miss Fulton. Please send the link for this video also in the group.
All right. I am hoping they'll be small enough to share. Some of them are large and have challenges, but I'll get them to you somehow. All right.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Okay, good. So we're gonna go into the next. All right. So here we go with the final video.
Mobilizing the youth of today, educating them in a better way, training so they won't go astray. Hear what they say, yeah. Keep your head to clear and thinking, know your heart, got to be persevering.
Hi, thanks for joining us again. Now today we're going to be looking at wrap sandwiches. Wrap sandwiches are one of the specialty sandwiches and it can be very interesting and nutritious. So we're going to be also inviting you to start your own gardens, and from your gardens you can take various vegetables to add to your sandwiches. So your lettuce, your carrots, your tomatoes, etc. can also go towards making interesting sandwiches for yourself and your family. So we're going to start off with our filling as usual. And remember from our previous series, we cream our cheese, we create our creamed cheese, and to that we add interesting preserves. So we've added sorrel chutney, breadfruit spread. You can also add your jams if you wish. Now we're going to be using our breadfruit spread, and that will be part of the filling for the wrap sandwiches. Now we're also going to prepare our bread using whole wheat bread. And to prepare the bread, we're going to roll. Rolling pin, cutting board. Need to flatten so that it allows for wrapping. Now we try to use fresher breads when we roll, softer and more manageable, and gives flexibility for rolling. So now we have rolled, we're going to use a large cutter, round or circular cutter, and this is our circular shape that we have. Now having this, we're going to apply some margarine not a lot, all over. Like that.
Your screen is not yet shared.
Now we're going to be looking at the filling, and outside of our cheese filling we're going to add vegetables again. So our carrots, we have kale, we have red cabbage, sweet pepper, and we have our cream cheese. Now what we're going to do is apply, just again a little bit, a small amount to the bread. Guys, I realized that some persons weren't sharing for a portion of the video. Do you want me to backtrack a little?
Yes, I don't see your screen.
Yes, thank you.
All right. You wish. Now we're going to be using our breadfruit spread, and that will be part of the filling for the wrap sandwiches. Now we're also going to prepare our bread. We're using whole wheat bread. And to prepare the bread, we're going to roll. Rolling pin, cutting board. Need to flatten so that it allows for wrapping. Now we try to use fresher breads when we roll, softer and more manageable, and gives flexibility for rolling. So now we have rolled, we're going to use a large cutter, round or circular cutter. And this is our circular shape that we have. Now, having this, we're going to apply some margarine. Not a lot. All over. Like that. Now, we're going to be looking at the filling, and outside of our cheese filling, we're going to add vegetables again. So our carrots, we have kale, we have red cabbage, sweet pepper, and we have our creamed cheese. Now what we're going to do is apply, give this again a little bit. A small amount to the bread. Then we're going to add some shredded carrots, vitamin A, vitamin C, rich in these things. Then we're going to add some kale or lettuce, whichever is available to you. And we're adding some red cabbage and yellow sweet pepper. Now we are just going to pull around, pull back, just to tighten the wrap. And we roll. And that is it. Now, sometimes it's good to put this in the refrigerator just to set for a little bit so that the margarine can give you a better closure. So you can wrap this in some cling wrap or plastic wrap. And rest in the refrigerator for a few minutes. So we took this from the refrigerator and we're just going to cut. So we can turn and try and find a halfway mark and cut. Now you notice you'll see the colors coming out even on the other ends. Green, orange, yellow, and the purple colors. So we're going to plate these. And this is your finished wrap. Very interesting, easy to make, nutritious, and of course you can always pull things from your backyard garden to make it more nutritious and tasty. So that was your wrap sandwich or your wrap sandwiches, depending on what ingredients you have, you can utilize and make it as nutritious as possible. Noticing also that we have utilized various vegetables in the sandwiches to maximize on the nutritive quality, right? So the carrot and lettuce, if you have kale, sweet pepper, cucumbers, whatever you have, and whatever is affordable to you, you need to try and utilize that for nutritive qualities, right? Are there any questions, comments at this time?
If you wanted the wrap to present standing, how would you get that wrap standing?
Instead of diagonally cutting it straight across so that it has a flat.
No,
base.
you want a diagonal still, then you want a diagonal still, but you want it to stand.
In that case, you still would need to cut straight across instead of cutting the middle.
Mm-hmm.
The ends, you would have to cut the ends in a diagonal fashion to get the tops looking that way.
Mm-hmm. I thought you would use a square thing to cut out the wrap and then cut it diagonal and thing there. And sorry.
Go again, cutting it square for, go again.
I think you would use, I was thinking about using something square to make the wrap of the bread and then cut it after making the wrap, cut it diagonally.
You can do that too. It's not set in stone as to how you do the shape. As long as you are able to fill with the relevant ingredients, right?
Mm-hmm.
The wrap, that's fine. At the end of the particular look you're trying to get. Because if it's square, it's still gonna have that same circular look. The only difference is when you use a circle, you get a kind of design on the side of it that goes around rather than going straight.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions? My group is silent except for today. What is happening?
Just a minute. Wait, just a minute. Could you use that same wrap to make pinwheels?
The pinwheel, well, remember with the pinwheel, you'd have to layer the things rather than having it more or less one side. So if you're doing a meal, after applying your spread, then you would layer your filling. If you're using, say, cheese, then the cheese spread, then you would layer that on top, and then you would layer your vegetables evenly on top, and then rolling that tightly. And of course, that would most times need to be refrigerated a bit to keep the shape. And then you cut those in the circular rounds to get that wheel effect. So in contrast to the wrap, notice the wrap, you would have put the ingredients to one section and then literally rolling it over that. But with the pin wheel, you'd have to layer it. And once you layer it, then you are going to get the color variation from the spread and the filling coming through in the round of it.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Just to add, miss, and I guess like for like the chicken, if we have chicken breast or anything, we could also add it to this wrap as well, miss.
Definitely so. And
Yes, or even the
utilize the
tuna,
leftovers.
or even the tuna if we have tuna as well.
Right.
Okay, very interesting.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Is there any other questions or comments?
When is the exam part of this?
Are we going to get to that in a little while? I just wanted to go through these videos and then we do a literal recap of the various things that we have done over the period so that things are concretized in your minds. And if there are any misconceptions or any questions, then we can clear those up before we end. That's okay?
Okay.
Good.
Miss, one more question. Do you have any videos with the pinwheel? Because I heard the other lady was asking you something about the pinwheel. So do you have any videos as to how you make the pinwheel? Or the pinwheel, you would use the same circular thing and maybe kind of put another, similar to the opening sandwich, put another layer of one of the circular thing on it to make the pinwheel?
All right, I'll have to provide the instructions for the pinwheel. I don't have a video on that one, not quite yet. But I can provide with the instructions so you can have a greater understanding of that. All right? Okay. So let us now go back a bit and come forward. Everyone seeing the screen?
Yes, miss.
In the presentation, everyone? Let me know.
Yes, we are.
Yes. Great, grand.
Yes, I'm here.
This is where we began our general objectives, just to, of course, helping you to recognize the link between agriculture and value addition through this sandwich making or sandwich production course. And what happened, we were able to infuse a little home gardening. More fruits and vegetables, and when we do prepare our sandwiches, that we utilize the opportunity to add our vegetables to make it more nutritious, right? And of course, the benefits that these vegetables and fruits can have to us. And Mike went through that in the presentation. And We also are looking at these amazing different ways in which we can create our snacks through sandwich making and also in the production of beverages such as the smoothies that were shared, other infused water, and also in the case of popsicle making. All right, we are looking back at the specific objectives, and as we go through them, we can identify whether or not these were covered and if we have a grasp of them. So we looked at the term sandwich making, also the term sandwich making, and being able to differentiate between both, and the classification of sandwiches. Are we able to state the parts of a sandwich? Can we identify at least 4 types of sandwiches? Are we also able to identify 5 main groups of nutrients that may be found in a sandwich and be able to list the associated parts? Can we list appropriate fillings and garnishes for sandwiches? Are we able to identify equipment and tools used for sandwich making? Can we also state at least 5 essential points in making sandwiches? Were we able to discuss at least 3 benefits of fruits and vegetables? Can we list at least 4 techniques using sandwich preparation? And as this will manifest itself when you actually do your practical in terms of preparing and presenting 2 types of whole sandwiches, and in so doing, be able to demonstrate good food handling practices. Have we covered all of these different areas?
Yes, you have done.
Yes, we have done so. And so we're just going to quickly scan through these just to, as I said, concretize these in our minds. So as part of general food handling and safety practices, we must be able to understand that whenever we prepare food, it must be safe for consumption. So we should at all times be able to provide food that is safe for consumption, right? And food safety is very important that we don't become ill. So what should we do to avoid food contamination? We need to follow personal hygiene rules, right? And of course, that includes taking care of our body and the clothes we wear, right? Once we're going to actually do the preparation of our different dishes, we need to wear protective clothing. That includes our apron and hair cover. We need to keep the fingernails short so they're easy to clean. Nothing get lodged in there that will harbor any microbes, right? And of course, we say, don't wear nail polish, just to ensure that they don't chip, because, you know, from time to time, nail polish will strip off. We don't want that as part of the ingredient in our sandwiches, right? And when we're handling food, we need to ensure that we wash and dry our hands thoroughly and often, right? Right, and if it is that we're wearing disposable gloves, then we of course need to change them regularly and ensure that we wash and dry our hands before putting them on, right? Our work areas or work surfaces need to be kept clean, and also those utensils and equipment that we utilize in the production of our sandwich or preparation of the dishes must also be clean. So we follow the clean as we go rule. We don't wait until we have completed everything before we start cleaning up, wiping the different areas. We clean as we go. So as we create a spill, we clean up. There's a little, there's some way that we can also wash up as we go. We do so to reduce the piling up at the end, right? And of course, if we are not well, we should avoid preparing.
Annie?
Okay, so what
Yeah.
else should we do to ensure that our food is kept at the highest of quality? We keep food covered. We wrap our sandwiches well to prevent staling or drying out. We pack those food items that oftentimes have much moisture in them separately so that they don't get our sandwiches soggy. We ensure that we keep our fillings refrigerated so that they are able to keep longer, fresher, and reduce the microbial growth that will take place at room temperature. We store sandwiches in the refrigerator also, and this is at 7 degrees Celsius or 45 degrees Fahrenheit. We cover our filling before storage, and we keep sandwiches refrigerated until we're ready for serving them. And of course, if we're going on outings of one form or the other, then we utilize a cooler with ice to ensure that we keep our sandwiches nice and fresh. We also recognize that the sandwiches that we make can also be frozen, but of course we are going to expect that there will be some deterioration in the quality, right? Especially for those ingredients that have high water content, those will form ice, and therefore once they thaw, then you're going to have the texture being affected, and so the sandwiches become soggy. So we need to choose high quality ingredients as much as is possible. And I always say, once you do your home gardening, that's one of the ways that you can also help to that you maximize on the quality, because nothing is fresher than going outside and picking something or cutting something that you need to use now, right? So it is as fresh can be, right? Versus buying in the market, buying in the supermarket, wherever. You cannot get it fresher than actually just stepping outside and utilizing what you have in your own gardens, right? All right, sandwiches should be presented to standard. So again, quality and freshness. We reduce cross-contamination by ensuring that we follow proper food handling procedures, right? So we reduce the handling of food as much as possible. So where we don't have to always keep touching the sandwiches, we utilize the various tools that can help to reduce that contact. And we recognize too that speed is also critical in the preparation of your sandwiches, just to ensure that you reduce the time that is spent at room temperature where bacterial growth will occur, right? So to ensure freshness, we prepare quickly, package and refrigerate to maintain highest hygienic standards, right? So that was what we actually looked at in terms of our food handling practices, right? Now we're going to look now at the general presentation. Here we go. And we're going to start at the beginning, they say. Okay. So here we go. So this is just revision, guys. What's a sandwich? Is anyone out there? Have we all fallen asleep? All right.
We're awake and well.
No, Miss
But I'm not hearing any
We're
response.
here.
Not hearing the responses that I'm used to. So I'm wondering what is happening today, the final day. Is it that we're so sad that we're
We're
going
just taking in everything.
We're trying to get everything and trying to remember what you have already sent us. So we're not
Okay.
certain of all the notes.
All right.
But
So
especially the beginning section that you was resending, we want those notes.
okay, it was shared. So what we'll do is reshare so that
Okay.
if you missed out, you can actually pick up on what was missing or stuff. All right.
Okay, thank you.
So a sandwich is a food item typically consisting of one or more slices of bread with spread, filling, and garnish, right? And we understand how versatile our sandwiches can be because they can be used for so many different occasions, right? Or meetings or parties, as a snack, as lunch, etc. Right? We also looked at staplewich, understanding that staplewich is similar to a sandwich. However, what is different?
A staple is used instead of the bread.
Right. So we use a staple instead of the bread. So we can have various staples that are available to us locally, such as the sweet potato, the breadfruit, yam, cassava, dasheen, green banana, plantain, etc. Right? And we can prepare those using various methods of cooking too, whether we're going to bake them, roast them, fry them, boil them, or steam them, right? Right. And we also recognize that we can also make different products, staple products from these staples. So if it is going to be, you're going to make a wrap, or if in the case like the bami, which we use the cassava to make the bami, or you're making a fritter base using one of these different staples, right? Good. And we understand too that there are just two major classifications of sandwiches. What are they?
Plants
Hot
and animals, yes.
Right, so we have hot. So you have hot sandwiches, which are prepared utilizing heat, or cold sandwiches, which do not require heat for the preparation or for most of the preparation. The types of sandwiches that we know: open face, closed face, pinwheels, roll-ups, multi-decker, checkerboard, wraps, rainbow or ribbon sandwiches, right? So in the case where we even had the ribbon sandwich, which we saw the different layers there, that also could be classified as a multi-decker, but because of the colors that are in the sandwich, we tend to classify it under rainbow, all right? Parts of the sandwich.
Filling.
Bread.
Filling,
bread,
and garnish.
filling and garnish. Right. So we need to remember those four key parts of a sandwich when we are actually doing our revision. And while you prepare your sandwich in your mind, you can go it over to say bread, spread, filling and garnish. Bread, spread, filling and garnish. Bread, spread, filling and, you know, when you're studying and you're trying to remember the things, yes, we sing it. All right, so bread, of course, is our base, and it provides the edible casing for the food inside, right? And of course, good quality bread will bring to the table variety, texture, flavor, and eye appeal, right? The size or the shape should be uniform so that we don't have any issues when it comes to portioning. Types of bread, of course, we said you have the Pullman, which is the most basic ones that we have available on the market here. So we have the white or the whole wheat bread, and oftentimes we can get that sliced. So oftentimes we slice, but you also can get it unsliced as well. They are rectangular shape, and the thickness will vary from about 3/8 to 5/8 of an inch. And of course, when you're making your sandwiches, for most of them, we would prefer thickness being on the lower end of the sphere there. Other sandwiches, the pumpernickel, rye, pita, French bread are some examples that are also out there. We looked also at the storage of bread because it is important in ensuring freshness of your sandwiches and also quality, right? So we require the bread to be about 1 or 2 days old so that they are not too soft when you're attempting to do your shapes and your neat slices in terms of your designs, etc. Right? Keep your bread tightly wrapped so you retain the moisture and prevent it from drying out. And we keep our bread away from hot equipment that can also affect or cause drying out, right? We move on to spreads. And what's the purpose of our spreads? To protect the bread from soaking up moisture, right? From the filling. So it creates a barrier. So the spread helps to create a barrier between the bread and the filling. Where there is a difference here where we don't tend to utilize a spread is in the case where we're using fillings that have a high fat content. For example, in our cheese, cream cheese or cheese fillings, right? The spread also adds flavor, moisture, and mouthfeel to the sandwich. What are some types of spread? Butter, margarine. We can have them flavored by adding other ingredients to them. We can also use mayonnaise, right? Just ensure that when you use your margarine or your butter, that you soften it, right? Cream it a bit to soften it, especially when you just take it from the refrigerator, to ensure that it's soft enough to spread and prevent the bread from tearing when you're applying. All right. Filling. Filling, this is the heart of the sandwich, right? And ingredients are usually placed on one or between 2 slices of bread, right? And the filling, it is what gives the sandwich its name. So if we have cheese filling, it's a cheese sandwich. If we have chicken filling, it's a chicken sandwich. If we have peas filling, it's a pea sandwich. If it's a cucumber filling, it's a cucumber sandwich. And I could go on and on. So what are some of the types of filling? Can we remember these? And I know many of us will have our preferences. And again, some of this will also depend on availability and affordability. So we'll have our meats, poultry, and shellfish, cheese, staple, and our miscellaneous. And I doubt I need to go through all of these different things in terms of the slices of meat, etc. Also, we have processed meats where you have your ham, your bologna, etc. Right? Even with the poultry, you know, of sliced chicken and so on, that's available on the market from processed poultry. All right. The cheese also is available in different forms, be it sliced, shredded, creamed, etc. something. Or vegetables, a wide array that can be used that goes well to add color, interest, and nutrients to the sandwich. And of course, under the miscellaneous category, we have our jams and jellies, peanut butter, hard-boiled eggs, etc. Garnishing is also important because it enhances the appearance of the sandwiches. And we indicated that the garnish can be part of the sandwich where it is actually inside the sandwich as part of what goes with the filling. So you have your filling and you can have your vegetables, etc. It can go on top in terms of we're using it to make it look more appealing in case of our open-faced sandwiches. Or it can also be part of the plating. So we put it on the plate to enhance what we are actually serving. So what are some of the things we can do? Use a large variety of vegetables. And so we can have tomato slices, tomato wedges, tomato rolls, tomato flour. And I'm asking that we utilize these different terms when we are giving examples. So though tomato is acceptable, being more specific in what you will actually visualize it being used at is more effective, right? Your carrot curl, your carrot wedges, your carrot cuts, your sliced, your shredded lettuce, etc. are some examples we'd want to see. Your onion slices. You can also use fruit slices. I'm not sure that any of the examples I actually had as images had this. I could check. Where, for example, where you had the ribbon sandwich, remember the ribbon sandwich where we had the tomato and cucumber, rounds at the tip? You remembering? Hello?
Yes, yes, yes.
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 Now, if you had, for example, what you call it now? Star fruit, a carambola. You could have sliced carambola that has the star edge that would fit in nicely with the star that would have been the form for the ribbon sandwich. Would have been nice. Or if it's a case where you're going to add a piece of pineapple, would be nice. Or for those of us who grow strawberries in the back of our garden or in the yard front or wherever we might have it, a nice strawberry there would be nice, etc. All right, so we could also add fruits to it to create interest and also to enhance the nutritive qualities. Good so far?
Yes, miss. Yes, miss.
Good. So, can our sandwich be nutritious? Yes. It all depends on what you put into it, right? So, our various groups of nutrients where we have our carbohydrate coming from majorly the bread, right? Or fat majorly coming from the spread, or protein, vitamins, minerals, and sometimes in the case where you're using something like a breadfruit spread as a filling, then you would also get carbohydrate from the filling, right? And our garnish providing much vitamins and minerals too, right? So it all depends on what you use. So you can use, if you use the full complement of the different parts and utilize your vegetables and fruits where they are also part of your garnish component, then you can have a very nutritious sandwich. All right. So what are some of these points that we should consider when we are preparing or producing our sandwiches? We recognize that sanitation is very important, especially in the case where we are preparing cold sandwiches, right? Where the hot sandwiches can actually have some of the microbes or microorganisms being killed by heat, the cold sandwiches don't have that advantage. So sanitation is even more so important. So we keep hot things hot, we keep cold things cold, right? So we make sure that our utensils and surfaces are clean, etc., and we handle ourselves in a way that works well with food handling requirements. Keeping our bread covered is important to retain moisture. And as such, when we would have produced our sandwiches, then we also need to keep them covered and refrigerated, right? When you're creating your sandwiches, then you consider the occasion so that you can create appropriate sandwiches for that particular occasion, right? The bread that we actually use should be about 2 days old so we can cut it easily, right? Where the exception is, as we said, where we're doing rolls, pinwheels or roll-ups, then the softer the bread, it makes it a little easier to roll, right? Quality ingredients for quality sandwiches. And we tend to try and soften our margarine and butter before we apply to ensure that it doesn't break up the bread, right? Your bread, in the case where I say, if you're going to be presented in a particular way, you trim your bread just to ensure that it looks neat, more presentable, right? But if you're having your sandwich at home or for that, or for lunch or so on, then you wouldn't necessarily need to trim it, right? Because then we want to minimize the waste as well. All right, we cut smartly, we have even layers, and we use appropriate garnishes for our sandwiches. Being mindful that our garnishes should enhance our sandwiches and not take over the whole presentation of our sandwiches. And finally, prepare quickly and neatly, right, in our production. All right. Tools and equipment. So some of the equipment we may utilize, we have here. We have here what? Refrigerator, since no one is helping me to read, I'm reading along. We have our refrigerator, our electric mixers, or electric knives, or food slicers, or sandwich maker, salamander for those hot
salamander hot sandwich.
Would be
salamander.
It looks similar to a toaster, and it applies heat to the top of the sandwich to give a particular texture on the top of the sandwich, right? All right. Our hand tools, of course, this is just limited to a few. I am sure you would have viewed the presentation on the myriad of tools that can be used. So we have knives, and there are different types of knives. You can have our chef knife, general cutting, or paring knife, especially where we are making garnishes. We have our spreaders, we have our bread knives with the serrated edge for easy cutting into shapes, etc. Our forks, spatulas, food tongs, cutting boards. We also have our colander for draining our vegetables. We can use spoons as it relates to mixing our ingredients, or bowls, etc. Right? So we have a long list we can utilize depending on what it is we're doing. And of course, we include in that our cutting board. How can we prepare our sandwiches? We can utilize various techniques. And what are some of the techniques that we can utilize? We have the piping technique, right? Which utilizes a piping tool, whether it be a piping bag with the nozzle, or it could be a tube, a piping tube, to which you add filling or your garnish, and then you express or squeeze to get that particle that you want. You would have seen this in one of the open face sandwiches that we saw in the video and in the staple, which demonstration done last week, Friday. Spreading, the even application of the spread or filling on your bread. Layering, this is used when you are adding more than one filling or vegetable, right? And when you are using more than 2 slices of bread, where you're doing your multi-decker, right? So the piping, spreading, layering. We also have portioning, because of course, especially when we say we are doing value addition and we are making sandwiches that we're going to earn from, you want to ensure that the sizes are the same, right? Counts or the weight, depending on how you're doing. Those are important. Molding, of course, we can utilize this technique to make uniform, attractive shapes. And in the case where we're making our pinwheel sandwiches, which requires rolling and forming, then molding takes place there. And some of the tools that we also utilize, there are a number of them on the market that you actually can use to mold your particular shape. Cutting, of course, we are able to divide our sandwiches in various shapes. We are able to remove the crust as well. And oftentimes, especially when we are at home, we tend to use the diagonal cuts for our sandwiches, or we cut it in half, one way or another. But those are the basic techniques for preparing our sandwiches. So you remember them: piping, spreading, layering, portioning, molding, cutting. All right, so when we're making our sandwiches, there are just some basic things or steps that you need to be mindful of or to follow in the production. So of course, our protective gear is important. Cleaning and sanitizing your workstation is important. You need to assemble and dry the necessary utensils and tools. You prepare your assembly area with your ingredients. And as I showed you on Friday, we tend sometimes to put our ingredients on the left and our utensils on the right, and we create an area in the middle with your cutting boards to do the major works. And then we can have in front of us our spreads once we prepare them so we can access them easily, right? Then we, of course, prepare our fillings and our garnishes, and we prepare our bread, whether we are going to be slicing, removing the crust, rolling, etc. And we organize our sandwich components for easy access and assembly. And once we have the different things ready and assembled and prepared, so our filling is prepared, our garnish is prepared, our bread is prepared, then we assemble our sandwiches by applying a spread, an appropriate filling, doing the necessary cuts, and ensuring, of course, that when we are doing our sandwiches that we don't have the fillings or vegetables hanging out of it to make it not so attractive, right? Of course, we wrap our sandwiches in plastic wrap or cling wrap, wax paper, etc., to prevent it from losing moisture or from drying out. Then, of course, we refrigerate and we hold until we're ready for service. Once we're able to serve or ready for serving, then we're gonna plate our sandwiches and garnish them nicely and present them on a covered table. Also noting that we can think out of the box when we are presenting our sandwiches too. It doesn't necessarily mean that you must place them on a plate if it is you're gonna have a party or something like that. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to have them on a platter per se. You can have a nice, I've seen them being plated on cutting boards, you know, to give that rustic look, I think, you know. Some persons have also used, say for example, quailed banana leaf and placing that too on cutting boards, etc., to give that local or that particular theme that you may be working with. So if you're creating, say, a banana staple, which then, having that there with the banana leaf kind of enhances that whole presentation. So you can think out of the box too when you're looking at your presentation. You can think also of things like boards that are covered with particular materials that will enhance what you're doing. And of course, you label your sandwiches for easy identification. And that in essence was it. That in essence was our presentation and delivery of sandwich making, right? Any questions, my wonderful people?
Excuse me, Mrs. Fulton, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, dear.
Also, I think we can place the sandwich on a tray.
Yes.
For presentation.
Yes, especially where large groups and, a tray might be the size that can give you that quantity on one container, that's also good. Thank you for that. Any other comments or questions? We check the chat.
Said that they are preparing it. When you're preparing it, the cutting board is in the center. Which side the utensils they should be on?
I don't want you to dwell too much on what side, I was taught ingredients on your left, utensils on your right, but there is no hard and fast rule. It's not something that that's going to detract from you. If you find that you manage your utensils better on the left, then there's no harm in that. Any other comments, questions?
Afternoon again, miss. Is it wrong to wrap our sandwiches in foil paper?
It's not that it is wrong. The foil is more expensive one. Also, I am not. You can. It's not that you can't. You can, but I would prefer utilizing the wraps because they tend to give you a better hold in and retention of the moisture than say the foil. But the foil can be used, especially if that is what is available to you.
Okay, miss, because I realized in the notes, it was saying wraps or other things. But no, miss, the wrap is more expensive than the foil paper.
The wraps, well, it depends on where you source them, miss. A lot of things depend on where you source them or how you get them. That's why I say use what is available to you. So some of us who acquire things based on not having to buy them because we have our godparents and godmothers who do things, then it may not come as a cost to you. So it all depends on what is available to you, really.
Okay, miss. But would the foil paper take the moisture from out of the sandwich, being that the wrap would retain the moisture? Would the foil paper take
thing
away?
with the foil paper, because it crumples so much, you don't necessarily want it to cause any damage to the form that you are creating. So if you find that's going to happen, then use something else.
Okay, Mr.
You're welcome.
Just another question I must ask. Will this presentation be on next year summer? Because it could be an
You can
ongoing.
go back to the same link. It is under the St. Catherine 4-H.
No, I'm saying will this
You can always access it from there.
No, I'm saying that will this be an annual thing? Because it could be annual in a where more people are aware of it, more parishes are involved. You know, since you're a national 4-H coordinate economics coordinator, it could go spread more across Jamaica. And the one thing that I must say that it opened my eyes to look back into my culinary books, you know, and help myself along the process of sandwich making. I usually see the things in the book and, you know, sort of leaning to read and to go and do it, but now my eyes are open now to more of the things that are in the book. I want to try them out. Sorry that it take place so late in the summer, you know, because next week I will be going out. Don't have much time to prepare it as I would have liked to. But I wish it was more like in July, so that August would be used for running my experiments, you know. So
Appreciate the comments. It's just a matter that sometimes because of other activities in the early part of the summer that prevented the coordination and implementation. So sometimes not necessarily that you would have wanted to have it this side of this summer, but because of other activities that prevented it happening earlier. But I am happy that you were motivated to actually go back to your books and be able to, you know, link or associate what you have learned here with things that you would have.
Actually, I did the arts at high school, and I bought this book but never paid keen attention to them, you know. But now I am paying more keen attention. This morning I was up on 2 o'clock looking through the books and see what I can do, you know, and it's unlike me to do that. So it caused my eyes to be open more to what I know more the techniques, how they present these things, you know. I see them very attractive in the book, but it was just attractive for me, just looking through the book.
That's great. So it gives you reason and motivation and inspiration. Great. I see in the chat, thanks for a comprehensive and interesting presentation. You're most welcome. Yes, presentation was very informative. I full enjoy it and going to try one of these presentations. Wonderful. Thanks for the training. It was well presented and I have learned a lot. I am happy you have learned and hope you are inspired to you know, be more aware of what is in your environs and being able to utilize your creative skills in the production of sandwiches and adding value to those things that you either have in your home garden or would have acquired through purchases at the market, etc. Right? That is so great. So one of the things that we have left to do is to actually go through the assessment. How will the assessment work out for you? All right. So we are going to go through that, but outside of that, I am happy that you have learned and that, you know, you're inspired to go and do more. So let me at this time find your assessment instructions. Okay. So here we are. So first and foremost, you will be required to do two-part assessment as we indicated at the beginning. You'll be doing a written assessment that will be done through a Google form, and you will be required to do a practical assessment that you will be doing as I am going to discuss here. There are no tricks. What you will get on your written assessment will be based on the presentation that we shared, right? So as long as you understood what was taught and you're able to go over your notes, you will do fabulously well, all right? The practical assessments now will take on 3 different formats. One, you can do a face-to-face, you can do a Zoom or a similar interactive platform, or via video. So a face-to-face where an assessor will actually be on spot to see you make your different sandwiches. Or we can arrange or schedule Zoom platform for you to demonstrate your skills at your own convenience and location. Or you can prepare a video of your presentation or your practical and submit to given links, right? So there are 3 options and you can choose the one that best suits you or fits your situation, all right? So of course, these assessments will be coordinated at your parish level. So you need to stay in your groups, your WhatsApp groups, so the necessary arrangement can be made for those to be done. All right, good. So what will you be required to do for your practical assessment? Here we go. So what is a staple witch? Staple witch is a new term which is similar to a sandwich. However, as you all know, the bread is replaced with a prepared staple or staple-based products. And we have examples here: breadfruit, sweet potato, dasheen, bami, etc. Now your instructions. You're going to use local ingredients to prepare and serve 2 varieties of sandwiches, staple which suitable for a snack or light lunch. One of the fillings should use legumes and nuts, where that would be your peas, your beans, or if it is you're using peanuts or cashew, etc. And the other from livestock. So it's gonna be chicken or pork or rabbit, whatever livestock is available to you to use. Bearing in mind also that the livestock can also be processed. So once it's a locally processed protein, then that can be used. Now the base of the staple, which must be made from a select local staple or suitable product made from same, right? So again, the base would be made from whether it be breadfruit, sweet potato, etc., as we did in the demonstration last week. All right. Now here are your guidelines. You're going to prepare 3 staple witch for each selected variety. So you're going to end up making a total of 6 staple witch for the 2 varieties. So for example, you're going to do, remember we said we're going to do, a protein and an animal and a plant-based, legumes and nuts versus livestock, right? And you're going to be using, for example, one with open face and one with double decker, just for example. So you're going to make 3 open face and 3 double decker. You remember what we did last, in the demonstration last week, Friday, where we presented the 3 Irish potato filled with the peas. It's not the same group, it's a different group I'm presenting to.
Yes, I did.
Right, good. so we can remember from there. 2 different staples are required for the base of the staple wedge. So if you're going to make your open face with Bami, and then you're going to make your double decker with breadfruit or something like that, right? So you're going to probably use breadfruit as one variety and plantain as the other variety. Use 2 different fillings, and again, we said you're going to have one from legumes and nuts, so you can use, again, as I did, you can use your broad beans, or you can use red peas, or you can use gungo peas, or if it is that you're going to, I think Miss Orr mentioned something about some cashew, or if it is that you're going to be using any other legumes from your peas, beans, nuts category. And the other is going to be from your livestock, right? Locally produced ham slices, sausages, or other processed meat or canned fish can be used as filling, right? Vegetables must be added to improve the nutritive quality, flavor, color of the staple wedge. Vegetables, such as your grated sweet pepper or your shredded carrots, well, that was just stated, that's a repetition. A detailed description of the preparation of the staple base must be explained. So we are not going to see you make your staple wedge base. So if it is you're going to be doing your fritter, your plantain fritter, as I did last week, Friday, you're not going to make it on the spot. You're going to make it and have it there. But you must explain how you made it. So is it that you grated your plantain and you added onions, whatever it is, you must explain what it is that you do, how you made it. All right? All right. So ingredients that need cooking should be pre-cooked and properly stored. So if you're going to be making, using the peas as a filling, so you'd have to pre-cook your peas, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you pre-cook your peas and then you would have that there for the rest of your processing. And of course, for some of these different fillings that you will use, a detailed description of the preparation of the filling must be given if pre-cooking is necessary. So of course, if you're going to be using roasted beef, or you're going to be having grilled chicken breast, I'm not expecting you to do those on spot, but you would have explained how it is you came about to getting it done. Understanding so far?
Yes, miss.
Yes, miss.
All right, great. Appropriate garnishes should be used to enhance your presentation. And each type of sandwich should be clearly identified with a place card, similar to what I had at the presentation last week, Friday, demonstration last week, Friday. Now, for those persons who are going to be submitting the videos, right, you must submit a 7-minute video, right, clearly showing the preparation of the filling, the assembly of your staple wedge and your finished product. All right. So that's 7 minutes, of course, will not show the full gamut of it, but you're going to have to do some editing to ensure that the necessary and important parts are included. So you must see the preparation and the filling, you must see the assembly of the sandwich, and we must be able to see you presenting your finished product, putting on the garnishes, etc. All right? All right. These are just some suggested resources. And
so, Miss, one question. The staple wedge for the video, you would have to prepare it beforehand or prepare it so that you can see?
You would have to prepare it so I could see it. Much of what is explained up here would be included. So, for example, again, if you're going to be making your staple base, I don't necessarily have to see you make the staple base, but you must explain what is done. Get it?
Okay.
So you show as in the case where I had the fritter, the plantain fritter, right?
Yes,
you will
miss.
show these are my plantain fritter, which will be used as the base for my staple, which they were made by, and explain how they were made. Understand? So that must be in the video. Then I must see how you make your filling. So if you're going to have your peas or your beans cooked, and then you're going to show rubbing it in the sieve, or if you're using a food processor, and you put it in the food processor with your onions and your other ingredients and so on, I must be able to see that process, right? Or if it is where, of course, we wouldn't be able to see you roasting the beef or so on, but you must be able to at least see the slices or explain, as it says, how you came about doing this. Understand? Is that any clearer?
Yes, miss.
Right. And you'll be graded on tidiness and hygiene, the techniques in making the sandwiches, the filling used, because again, you're supposed to be using your legumes and nuts and the livestock. So you'll be graded for those, the creativity, flavor enhancement and neatness, and your presentation and service. These are just some guidelines. If for those who will be doing the video, you can go through them at your leisure as to what must be done to get it there. So if you're going to be submitting a video, there is an email address there that you submit it to. This will be shared in the to go through. All right. Okay.
Miss,
Okay.
what do you mean by MP4 or AVCHD?
All right. There are certain formats when you're doing your necessary video that it is recorded in. How else do I explain it? These formats, depending on the device that you're using, will actually automatically do it this way, or when you're saving it, you have the option to save it in this format. So it depends on your device.
So
some people, I understand, will go full production of video, and some persons will actually use their phones to actually do the recording, right? So depending on the device that you're going to use it, when you're saving it, you can be allowed to save it in any of these formats.
Can I help you here, miss? So if you do it in an MP3 format, the MP3 format is just that you will get an audio and you will not see any video. So even though you might be doing the video and you think that miss see it, she won't necessarily see it, but she'll hear the audio part. So just like when you're downloading things from YouTube, you would ask the format if you want it MP3 or MP4 format. So the MP4 format is what gives you the video and the audio. The MP3 format is what gives you the audio only and no video at all.
Thank you. Well said.
So you're saying the MP4 will give you both audio and video?
That's correct.
Okay.
Any questions as it relates to what it is you're required to do? Guys, I don't want you to, because you see words, you become scared. It's similar to the demonstration that I did last week, Friday. It's nothing that you should be worried about. It's just remembering what you were taught, choosing your staple base, and getting your filling from your legumes and nuts. And as I said, you can choose from the array of local legumes that are available. Your red peas, your broad bean, your cowpeas, your gungo peas. It depends on what you want to use. Or if it's the case that you want to create something with peanuts, or if it's something you want to create with your cashew, or other legumes and nuts here that are locally produced, right? And along with that, you do livestock. And your livestock, again, as we said, can come from your chicken, it can come from your pork, it can come from your rabbit, it can be processed meat such as your local ham slices or your sausages, etc. And of course, you include your vegetables, etc. Right? So it's nothing technical, it's just that we want to state it clearly so it is clearly explained in your minds for you to look and see that you feel you dot all the I's and cross all the T's.
How long will it be hard for us to do the assessment? When will be the closing section?
That's for which one?
For this one.
I guess it would be, as again, if it's video, you're going to 7 minutes. So you're gonna
No, I'm not talking about the duration. I'm talking about the length for us to finish the practical.
You mean the time frame in which to complete?
No. Like you have a closing date for when all the presentation should be done.
I think it's
we have up to September, the end of September. Because remember, we are 6 parishes, and because of the 6 parishes, we have to give adequate time for persons to do their necessary preparation and the necessary scheduling. So the practical part of it will extend until the end of September, but the written part of it, the written assessment, will be administered on Monday. You can either have it on Friday or Monday. And I suspect some persons might want it on Monday to finish the reading up and so on.
This Monday coming?
Yes.
Monday or next Friday or this Friday?
This Friday. And what I might do is give it this Friday and Monday, just to facilitate persons. Because we don't want it hard and fast that persons are excluded.
Yes, that's what I was thinking, that you could post it post it, and then we do it either Friday or Monday.
Right, and it will be done in the group, so your parishes will post it and you complete and have that done. All right. Now,
Okay.
if for some reason or another, and I don't even want to mention it, but in the name of Jesus,
No.
for some reason you're not able to do the practical, please ensure you do the written assessment, because that will ensure that at least you get a participatory certificate.
Yes,
remember, Ms. Carr explained that in total fulfillment, you will be graded or you will be awarded based on your performance. So you have bronze, silver, and gold awards, right? And you can only get that if you complete both written and practical. But if for some unforeseen reason, you're not able to do one, whether it is the written or the assessment, then you will get a participatory certificate. That clear?
Yes, Miss.
Yes, Miss.
So whatever you do, try and ensure you do the one, and then work out the necessaries for the practical, all right? And like I said, this instruction will be shared in the group so you can go through it diligently. And if there are any questions, we can address those as
And
well.
remember today's note in case we had missed anything.
Yes, this will be, the link will be posted as we have done for the others. All right?
Okay, Miss.
All right. So, Having done so, we are at the final segment where we do our question and answer. We have gone over time, but just to facilitate you, and it being the last general presentation, we want to ensure that we answer your questions in this forum. Any questions as it relates to the program, the course, any comments? We would appreciate them.
Miss, one question, I'm not sure if you mentioned it, but when is the deadline to post the video for the practical exam?
The end of September.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Miss,
Yes, go ahead.
I had originally signed up for the fish program and they sent me this sandwich one. So I'm saying to myself, sandwich making? They can't really teach people to make sandwich. Sandwich are just bread and little chili. But I appreciate what I learned in class and I enjoyed it. And it's quite informative.
Well, you're in the WhatsApp group, right?
Yes, miss.
So just mention it in your WhatsApp group so that they can send you the relevant details for the agenda fish project. Because you still have the opportunity to come on. All right?
Yes, yes, miss.
All right. So you are getting a double, you're getting what we call brata. So you
yes, miss.
Okay.
All right, I must say that this was born because I'm born out of, while I was on Zoom, a little girl came on and said to me, Miss, I want you to show me a video on sandwich making. And every morning she would say, Miss, remember the video on sandwich making? And one morning I got a video and show her on the making of sandwiches. And she told me thanks. But somehow I wanted to know more. And I am very thankful that I've done this. I've done this so I'm better equipped and I can, I can do it.
Well, I am happy and I hope the student found it fulfilling and is a part of this.
You know that she did, you know that I send a link to her mother and somehow every morning I check to find out if she was very much in the group and she was not. But at least I can go back to the school
and equipped with the skills to impart. Right.
So that if she wants to be more aware of sandwich making, she can get the practical. But it was born out of she wanting to know how more to make sandwich. She said she just want to make her own sandwich. So, sometimes the children can cause us to go.
Good when they are interested. It's really good when they are interested. And I hope she will be motivated to.
Children are very motivating.
Yes, right. All right, just to finalize with some of the comments from the chat, I don't want to leave out the persons posting their notes. Yes, I am inspired in the areas of sandwich making. Wonderful presentation I have learned. All right, but that sandwiches were just bread with filling. Glad that I joined the class. Wonderful. Knowledge is power. Mrs. Fulton, very informative presentation. Thank you.
Yes, Toki.
Thank you.
I've learned a lot these days. Very, very.
Yeah. Voila, I'm soon call you back.
I have learned a lot these days. Very, very informative. I'm going to put what I have learned in practice. Thank you very much. Great. That's what we want to see. Learn by doing. So in doing, you will become even better at what you do. I have learned a lot. It's very, really interesting. Great. Thank you for this wonderful presentation. So these are just some of the comments. All right.
Miss?
All right, so the written assessment, will the written assessment be done online? Yes, it will be done and it will be posted in the group. All right.
Okay,
And
Miss.
also the link for the video where you should submit will also be posted in the guidelines that you will be given. Yes, go ahead. Is it Colette? Go ahead.
No, Miss, I'm not saying anything.
Oh, someone was trying to say something. I just
Oh,
wanted
yes,
to-
Miss.
Yes,
I was
go ahead.
saying I tried the Irish potato based staple witch,
Yes.
but I was wondering if I could peel it. I have to peel it at the end because I didn't like the finish with the peel on it.
Why? You know, it's added fiber. It is added fiber. But the thing is, what happens is, sometimes you have to do a little extra scrubbing of the potatoes to get them to that kind of look that you want. Although sometimes what you find too, if the potato is not very fresh, then you find that the skin is a little rough and it might not give you that higher peel that you want. So maybe probably that's why I'm suspecting that you peel it. But nonetheless, I'm happy you tried. How was it?
It was good. It was good otherwise than the peel.
Great. It's great.
I learned a lot from this meeting, and I hope I will join it next year.
All right, great. So I have future participants. All right, so thank you so much for a wonderful presentation. You're most welcome. Does anyone have the link about drinking water and keeping yourself hydrated? Yes, it was posted in the group. If it's not in your group, this is St. Andrew. I'll ensure that it's posted in your group, St. Andrew. All right, thank you so much, guys. It's 1:15. I really appreciate your participation.
Remember the notes.
Yes, I remember the notes. So I'm expecting to have a whole slew of persons now fully equipped and upskilled to do their staple witch and sandwich making, creating wonderful products that they and their families can enjoy, and utilizing the opportunity where you can also do this value addition to earn some income as well. All right, thank you again. For your other comments and questions, please post them in the WhatsApp group so we can address them after this forum. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day and a very productive rest of this week. I really enjoyed your company. Godspeed, and until we meet again, be safe and be good.